So I watched. I'm all, oh, cool. On FX, they've got edited for TV Deadpool. Yeah, still not edited enough. Like what you would have thought they took out, they didn't take out.
No.
Like I look for just something graphic. As long as it's not really graphic, I'm like,
Yeah.
It's fine.
As long as the sex montage is still there, we're good to go.
Yeah. Welcome to the All Pop No Culture.
Take two.
Same take. There we go.
Yeah.
Off to an auspicious start. Welcome to the All Pop No Culture podcast. I am Pete, and with us tonight is Kevin.
Howdy.
Alex.
Hello.
David.
Hello.
But no Opie. We have no Opie tonight. So
what will we do?
I'm in charge. Again, we're trying to make this a little bit less of the shit show that the Star Wars episode that I hosted was. Probably should be a little easier this time around.
Red Pete Redemption.
Right?
Sure it is.
Well, no, because I mean the bar is set so goddamn low.
And yet somehow
I can only go
nowhere to go but up. That's true.
That's exactly. So, what have you guys been watching?
Who wants
to throw it out there?
You said you haven't watched much, Kevin. Have you watched anything?
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton. The one thing that I did start this week was The Flight Attendant on HBO.
Oh, that's Kaylee Cuoco's new show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's a one-off series. I'm only 2 or 3 episodes in.
I think they greenlit season 2 already.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Because I follow her on Instagram, and I think I remember a post of her saying that, and the typical "thanks for your support" type of thing.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'm pretty sure I followed her, but I didn't see that. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting show so far. The plot's essentially given away in the trailers, or the key to the plot's given away in the trailers.
Yeah.
Where she, she's a hard partying flight attendant traveling the world, right? And she meets this dude that she's waiting on in first class. They hook up, and she wakes up and he's dead, like brutally dead. Like his throat's cut, there's blood everywhere. And she, instead of calling the police because she's in Thailand, she bolts. Like she gets on her next flight, takes off. And then it's kind of the cascading effect from that. And I have to say, at least in these first couple of episodes, she does a really good job. Like she's a better actress than I thought she was. Like her character is just chaos. Like she's just, because she's a party girl, right? So one thing that I've enjoyed so far is that, a lot of movies will have a character like this, and the character will be like overly creative. Like it won't actually match the intelligence of the character. Like they'll figure out ways to get out of things and come up with and she's just a fucking mess. Like she's not super smart. Like she keeps making just bad choices all over the place. And it spirals, and she does a really good job with it. And then it's got this really interesting plot key where or plot element where every now and then she pops into this like world inside her head where she's back at the hotel room, and the dude, even though he's dead, she's talking to him and like trying to figure out what happened. And it's just a trip. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I probably shouldn't anyways. I should just say to go watch it. But it's good. It's surprisingly good. The cast is solid. She, for as however much older she is than when she first hit television, she looks great. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a really good job. Like it's a pretty entertaining show, at least so far. I've heard from a couple of people that maybe it takes a turn at some point and gets a little funky, but it's been pretty cool so far. I've really liked it.
How many episodes have you watched?
2, and I think there's only 6 or 8.
Okay,
I think it's 8.
Yeah,
I finished the show.
Oh, you watched it?
Okay.
Yeah. Overall, I wasn't overly impressed. It gets a little cliche in places, and and her character, when Kevin says she's like pure chaos, is like not an exaggeration. She is just the worst at like whatever she decides to do. The unexpected consequence is the absolute worst version that you can get, and it just is like this constant snowball downhill. You know, but the cast is really solid. I am a little more critical of her acting than Kevin was. She's very good in a lot of places. There's a couple of places where it was very cringy. I thought she could have been much better. But it was pretty solid. I think I had hoped for more. And the direction is weird. It's kind of it doesn't really make sense. The breakaway that Kevin's speaking of with the dead guy, that continues on throughout the show. And
I figured
it's a weird element, and they use it oddly, and there are other odd elements in the show as well that I'm not quite sure worked for me.
It doesn't seem like a little too sci-fi-ish in a more grounded universe.
It wasn't even. It was pretty
sci-fi.
much just an editing like direction choice. It wasn't even necessarily sci-fi. She comes across as just absolutely crazy. Like she had a mental break when she woke up in this dead man's bed.
Gotcha.
For sure.
You know, so and it just kind of, I mean, it's mental health, but just the way it's kind of handled is weird. And kind of breaks the flow of the narrative sometimes.
Yeah, I really and I don't know yet. I expect that to go somewhere and be something, and it sounds like maybe it's not. And that maybe is the issue, like for that to be something really specific to the story and not just a scene change kind of thing or a shoe in to fill in some backstory. But we'll see. If there's another season, maybe it'll mean more too. I don't know. But yeah, no,
I mean, they definitely left room for, I can say that they left room for a second season at the end. They not like some shows where like they structure we're definitely leaving room for something else. This one, it wasn't tied up neatly. There's definitely, space for more.
That's good.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to watch some more. I just haven't I just kicked it off this week. Like I told you guys beforehand, I've been watching the living shit out of Letterkenny. So that's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
And Alex, you were right, man. They trail in so many attractive females on that show. It's crazy.
It's never ending.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Like every now and then
the lovely ladies on the show only get prettier as the show goes on.
Yeah.
Right. Every now and then I'll just be sitting around, and in my head I'll Bonnie McMurray.
Whoa, Bonnie McMurray.
Yeah, and I don't even actually picture her. It's just the way that like the three of them say it every time she walks in.
Oh yeah.
So I'll be laughing. But like I think I made it up to season 6 already. So.
Well, it's not hard to get
fast.
through it. Yeah. It's such a quick show. Like I said, I watched it all the way through twice in like a couple weeks. It was just like it's and it's so entertaining. And especially the second time through, you can even kind of do other stuff while it's on, like it's just fun to even listen to. But
yeah, I think you have to get through it that first time though, because you have to get, like you guys said, you got to figure out their way of speaking and their accents or just, all the things they kind of mumble, all those things. Once you've heard them once, they make more sense.
Yeah.
Squirrely Dan's not always the easiest person to understand.
Yeah, all his plurals when they shouldn't be. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
But also sometimes he mumbles under his breath and other things as well.
And so does Wayne. And so does Derry. They all do it from time to time. But you do need to at least watch it because Wayne's like something we haven't really touched on is like Wayne's physical comedy is just so like the way he stands up well quick
like
and
super fast.
Yeah, and just I don't know, the way he moves in that show is so funny to me.
Every time he gets into a fight, the fight sequences are choreographed amazingly. They're so much fun.
It's so funny because he's very rigid normally, but when he's in a fight, he flows like differently. It's like he's a different character for like a minute, and then he gets out and he just gets back to being like rigid. It's really interesting. Like, and it's shot really fun. I love that show. I'll probably watch it again soon.
Yeah, and I love how the fight scenes always kind of work. Like everything goes, and then everybody's like huggy happy at the end.
Mhm.
And then there's this especially I found in the later seasons, not so much in the early seasons, but there's like this under plot of like the guys finding love, so like episodes end a few of them end, and there's like these really sentimental notes that you wouldn't expect it to based on the earlier seasons.
For sure.
So,
that's what I was saying. Like originally, it's like there's a lot of really touching and kind of emotional moments in the show that's just buried under a bunch of like fart jokes and stuff like that. So they're few and far between, but when they hit hard because they're not so constant.
Yeah, so it's a surprisingly touching show like that.
Yeah, well, like even just little things that like they never explicitly really go into it, but like the relationship between Katie and Wayne, just the brother and sister, like and they've talked a couple times like their parents are not around, like it's just them on the farm, and how they've sort of bonded, and things they were and weren't allowed to do when they grow up. They never really go into it in detail, but you just get like tidbits of it here and there, and it just helps you kind of understand their relation. Like they would just die for each other. It's like such a cool relation. Like it's probably one of my favorite sibling relationships I've ever seen on TV, as goofy as it is. Like it's really endearing at the same time.
Well, you see them throw down for each other on a regular basis.
Like,
for sure. He'll be there for her and she's been there for him, and like physical fights.
Yep, that's a good one.
So this makes you want to move to rural Canada.
Especially with the state of our country there,
dude, seriously, you watch that in Schitt's Creek and you're like, why do I not just live in Canada? I'm like, so
anything else, Kev?
No, I would say that's the bulk of what I've been watching. I did start my wheel movie with my oldest son, but we'll talk about that when Opie's around, so we can.
What did you have again?
Yes, Pirates.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, Pirates. Okay,
yeah. And my oldest son was interested in that, so we watched about half of it. So
had he never seen it?
Yeah, I don't think he's ever seen it.
Wow.
Okay. But it is a cool thing to have on Disney Plus at this point. So
yeah.
Oh, and I did start. I got through the first like 4 or 5 episodes of Clone Wars with my youngest son.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool too.
We're converting him, Pete, slowly but surely. We're converting him.
Yes. You guys get no credit. You guys get no credit.
We get all the credit.
Only Favreau. Only Favreau gets the credit.
No, not Filoni. No Filoni.
The guy who wrote Clone
got
Wars.
me to watch. I put on another 2 episodes this week. I watched 2 more. So I'm slowly making my way through as well. It's been a struggle.
So happy, and then you're gonna watch Rebels, and then
don't put too much on me right now, dude. Don't do that.
Speaking of Rebels, they did announce that the voice actor for Thrawn in Rebels is going to be Thrawn in the live action.
Which
is that official?
Lars Mikkelsen.
I did see that. That's right. Yeah. Because there were so many rumors flowing around after that episode of Mando.
I know. I sent a meme to Pete,
and I sent it to them.
Oh yeah, you sent it to us.
You? Yeah. Oh yeah, that was holy. I actually thought about it. Could you imagine? Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
The best part, I haven't even seen that movie. So like when he says like hello Asaka, like on the little meme, like I heard it in your guys' voices, which was what was really funny. Like your impersonation of his voice.
Well, no, that was one of those pre-COVID things that we were gonna do, that we were actually working on.
Oh, that's right.
Before COVID and before Kevin moved, we were talking about doing another room night.
Oh yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Figure out, actually, it would almost be easier.
I'm sure there's a way to do a remote watch, and watch it, but
and then we can follow it up with Cats.
That's a punishment. I've done my viewing for my life of that movie, so that's no more of that. I don't want to get started on that topic.
Well, it's funny that they did the thing about Thrawn, because I was wondering if it has anything to do, like them casting the same guy, if it has anything to do with the backlash that they got when they cast Rosario Dawson. Because there was a lot of people that were kind of pissed that they didn't cast the voice
Ashley
actress.
Eckstein.
Yeah, because she'd been doing it for so long.
It's half and half though, because if you look at Ashley Eckstein, you're like,
she doesn't really look like her. Yeah,
that wouldn't work.
But they do put under a lot of makeup anyways, so
wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's a fantastic voice actress. Like she's been around forever. But yeah, it would
just
be
because you're a voice
different.
actor doesn't necessarily mean you're an
No,
actual.
for sure.
Does
For
not
sure.
translate.
Yeah. And obviously Rosario Dawson did a great job. And I mean, I'm biased because I've never seen her up until this week. Hadn't seen the character before. So
Ahsoka,
for me, for me, Ahsoka was essentially new.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
That makes me happy.
That was the goal, was to make you happy, Pete. The whole reason
accomplished.
Yeah.
Other than what you've already told us about, have you seen anything newish or old that you've rediscovered?
Not this week. No. Yeah, I this week's a blur though. Like I literally don't remember what I've watched this week at all. I did pick up since Opie's not here to roll his eyes. I did get the free PlayStation game of the month. I've been playing this game called Greedfall.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how much I love it. It's a kind of action RPG type game. It's weird.
It's not a love it kind of game. It's a kind of like it kind of game, but it's free.
It was. I didn't pay for it. I don't have anything else to play right now. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually funny because I, oddly enough, have been playing a video game this week as opposed to watching something new. Yeah.
So you didn't really watch anything either?
No, I watched. I mean, I'm trying so hard to get motivated to watch any of those fucking Roger Moore Bond films. Like,
well, that'll be next week, so you got time. You're good on that.
But I did watch King of Staten Island. Finally, the Pete Davidson Judd Apatow thing. Mm-hmm. I was pleasantly surprised with how good it was. It did kind of live up to the hype. I thought. It really takes about an hour for you to really, for a 2-hour film, that first hour is really cringy. Like Pete Davidson does a really, really good job of making you like both love and hate him at the same time. And then it's a fun little turnaround, and it's a really sentimental movie.
Mm-hmm.
But still funny. I know we sort of talked about it like on one episode when it first came out. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't watched it.
I haven't either.
I saw it just pop up on a new streaming service. Sorry if we can hear my dogs there.
Yes.
It's on HBO Max now.
That's what it was. Yeah, I saw it pop up on one of the streaming services
it.
And thought to myself, "Oh, okay, I need to watch that soon," but I haven't seen it yet.
It's good if you like Pete Davidson, like if you've watched him on Saturday Night Live and you like him, and you've seen like some of his stand up and you like him, you'll love the movie. But like Bill Burr is in this as well, like major character. Same kind of thing with like my take on him from The Mandalorian. Way better actor than like you thought he would be. Like he's got the voice thing down. It's easy. I mean, even though it's still him, like on F is for Family, he does that and it's funny. But he's actually pleasantly, surprisingly good in this. He's still Burr, but he's not like Burr doing his stage act. Like sometimes you get a comedian on the show and he does a part and you're like, I think that was a bit you did right there. And it's like none of it's like that. Steve Buscemi's great. Marissa Tomei is of course fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Just like in everything she does. It's really worth the watch. But if you're feeling like you're not feeling it, just get through the first hour. Because I could see how some people would watch it and be like, okay, I really don't like this movie. This is a waste of time. But once it takes a turn and it's good.
That's what I'm going to tell people from now on, just to troll them and get them to watch Cats. Yeah, like if you're not feeling it, just get through that first hour. Because at that point, it's too late. Like at that point, it's too late. So
at that point, you just have to finish it.
Yeah, it's like The Ring. If you don't watch it all the way, you'll die or whatever.
Yeah, just be like, it really takes off at the hairball scene. So just watch through that and then you'll be good.
What have you been playing, Pete?
So I downloaded on the Switch because it was on sale for $6. Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, okay.
The original?
Oh, the original.
Yeah, it's the original.
Old
They don't have the
school.
remake on
Nice.
Switch.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to play it all the way through again, but this time like without a strategy guide, just from memory.
That's a long game, dude.
And my
It's a long
daughters
game.
are watching it, and they're digging just watching me play it.
That's good.
Yeah, well, they probably would lose their mind trying to play it. It's not a fast-paced game compared to
Not at
everything
all.
that's out there now.
There is,
Especially
and
if you
that's
play
what
the
I-
remake.
Well, that's the. I'm remembering there are things about this game that I didn't like that kept it from being like almost a perfect game. Like people thought it was like I don't like the ability to not get through some cutscenes a little faster on some of them. I will say even on a replay on this, even though it's old, you don't mind the polygon graphics, really, and like the Sephiroth cutscenes still look flippin' amazing.
Now, are you
Just like-
playing on the actual like screen on the Switch, or are you playing
No,
like,
I'm playing
with
on
the
the TV.
Switch on your TV?
On my TV.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's I'm feeling, you know,
I actually
it makes me
bought
feel young again.
a while back I bought Final Fantasy VIII for the Switch. And I fell off playing it, but I liked, at least back in the day, and I haven't played through either of the old ones recently, but I liked it actually more than 7. 8 had a better like story in the background to me, even though Sephiroth I think was one of their best villains like ever. I really liked 8, but I haven't played it on that. I should put the Switch up on the TV and try and play it, see if I like it more that way. Yeah, the Switch is, dude. I will still say like I don't play many games on the Switch, but I think it's one of the most creative consoles that exists right now.
Yeah,
just the ability to just be sitting there playing, and then just plug it in and play it on the TV, pick it up, take it with you.
It's a
pretty
handheld.
impressive.
It's handheld. That's a home console.
Yeah.
And when you take that handheld somewhere, you can pull the controllers off the side, set it down, and like 3 or 4 people can gather around it, even though it's a small screen, and play together. So it's a pretty brilliant piece of engineering.
The thing about it that impressed me the most is that before it had come out, they had all the commercials about how it worked, where you could dock it and it would pop up on the screen like a second later, or take the controller. And you know, you watch that kind of stuff and you kind of take it with a grain of salt. You're like, it probably won't be that fast. It probably won't do that as well, yada yada yada, because marketing, that's how marketing works.
Yeah.
And it works exactly like it did in the commercial.
Yeah.
Which I was like, kudos Nintendo, because I was not convinced until I actually owned one and did it myself.
Yeah.
Like I was playing Breath of the Wild and I was like, I took it out and it just popped up, and I played it for a little bit more and I clicked it in, it popped up. I was like, God, that's like exactly what they showed. It's so impressive to me.
It's cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think Breath of the Wild is going to be my next kind of Switch purchase for me. The girls are like Opie. It's Mario Kart, and Mario Party surprisingly is ridiculously fun.
it can be
never
in the right crowd.
I
we have
never played any of those.
Super Smash Brothers is pretty fun too.
Oh, we've got that. That's my 8-year-old.
If you want to just be mad at each other all the time, play Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Well, now that for Christmas we got another couple of controllers, so now we're playing like 3-player.
There you go.
And they are figuring out that they can gang up on me in that game,
As they should.
in the game.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
But that's Smash Brothers has been fun. It's an easy like, it's especially for like a little kid to be slightly competitive at it. It's a total like, you can button mash that and
that's all I do. I don't have
Heathens.
skills when it comes to fighting games. Yeah.
The 8-year-old, her favorite character is the Wii Fit aerobics instructor.
Oh, the one who shoots the giant energy ball out of her vagina.
Exactly, and we call her Karen. And
awesome.
she just
Now I need to play that character.
She does. Have you seen it? She puts her arms in the air in a yoga pose, and an energy ball forms like right down here, and then it just shoots out at someone. It's like not exaggerating at all.
No,
it's like, well,
it's
That's
not
awesome.
It's like Dragon Ball Z, but instead of using your hands, you use your privates.
That's
I've been tempted by a couple of those games too, because I love the DBZ games because
There's some cool ones.
Always been pretty good.
I can send you some recommendations.
I would love that.
You know, another thing that's coming out, I don't know, I think it's every console. I don't know if it's gonna be on the Switch, but sometime in the next few months, supposedly, Mass Effect, the entire trilogy is getting redone.
March played on those. The Switch, that would be really cool on the Switch.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on the Switch or not, but I know it's at least the PlayStation and the Xbox.
Yeah.
Those first two are really excellent games. The third one,
yeah,
I personally didn't care for. I know some people will defend it, but
they got railed because of the ending, which they did fix. But
yeah, that fix is. I agree with Alex. The quotes is not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's their story, and that was we don't need to get into this too, but it's.
but that would be really cool on the Switch. I would buy that in an instant and play through those first two.
I'm curious how they actually hold up gameplay wise, because one does not play well.
I remember going back and playing one later and thinking, I mean, I still like the story, but
the story is
great. Not great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've heard the name, I've heard the name Mass Effect, but I don't know what the game's about.
It's the Star Wars of video games. Just think about that. It's a trilogy.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah.
Spacefaring, multiple cultures and aliens and things getting along and tackling like a galactic threat. That's the easiest way to say it's the Star Wars of video games. In that sense.
Okay. Yeah.
The first one tells a good story and the gameplay is a little chunky. It's clunky. The second one is a damn near perfect video game.
That game is very good.
Really good action shooter.
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah. I would say minus
RPG shooter. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an RPG shooter. Yeah, that's fair
for sure.
I would say as the gameplay improves, the story kind of declines starting from 2, because 2's story is amazing and the gameplay is good. The gameplay gets better in 3, but the story gets worse. And then Andromeda, which was like an offshoot, kind of think of like Rogue One, it's kind of tied together, but not really. The gameplay was really fun, but the story was fucking messy. It seems like the gameplay goes like this and the story just goes like that. So I don't know. Well, they're still cool games though.
Yeah, 2 was right where the two things moved hit and it worked best, and then now you're kind of sliding down.
2 is so good.
One of the scales. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the perfect ending on 2 and I felt so good about myself. I kept my whole crew alive. Too. And I was just oh man. It was that last mission was I was like, I hope I put everyone where they were supposed to be.
Me too. I was so stressed out.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it's only going to be on Xbox and PlayStation, not the Switch.
That makes sense.
That's a bummer. It would be good on the Switch, but is what it is.
It is what it is. Would you like to go next, David, or would you like me to go? Or Pete, are you done? Actually, I should say.
I'm done. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I can go.
Go for it.
Let's see. My main watch for this week was something that probably most everyone's watched. Is I watched The Watchmen finally, and
the show or the movie?
The show.
I still haven't seen the show.
I'd seen the movie, and the show blew my mind. It's probably my favorite television show at this point. I was absolutely blown away by the storytelling. Mm-hmm. They wove something together that is amazing. And I've heard people say that they're sad that there's not a second season. And I truly hope there isn't one, because I don't think they could ever.
Well, I think because that was Damon Lindelof, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think he said, he's like, I don't have a story, so I'm not going to force a second season. He said, if I ever sit down and the right story comes up, he's like, then I could create another story, whether it's a direct follow-up to season 2 or to season 1, or if it's just a new story in that Watchmen universe that he's created. But he's like, I'm not in a rush. He's like, I'm not going to put something out there that's not as perfect as this.
It is. I mean, the right characters at the right time to tell the right story. It's really amazing. I was truly blown away. The first couple of episodes are very good. It's not until like the middle of the season where all of the stuff they set up in the beginning of the season really starts to kind of knock down. And then you just starts, it's like mind blown. Like every episode, you're just like, holy shit, I can't believe they stacked this together. So
Now, was that just a single season?
I can't recommend it
Yes,
enough.
it's one season.
It's just one season,
Yeah, it's
13
just
episodes.
It's 9.
9. Okay.
What was crazy to me was I didn't even know that event in the beginning was an actual event. Was it the
Tulsa
Massacre?
Yeah.
And so
I've heard that's in
that
the show.
That was the thing is people really didn't, and I watched it and I was like, fuck, dude, that's shitty. Like,
it was a movie from the 90s called Rosewood that was about it, and it was a really good movie, but I don't think a lot of people saw it.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I saw it.
I think it was it John Singleton? I think it was Singleton. I don't know.
No, I think Singleton made it, but I feel like Mario Van Peebles was in it.
Oh, he might have been.
If he was in the 90s, that makes sense.
But Ving Rhames, I think, was like the big name of the movie. It was a damn fine film, and I think that's why I know about it, because it's really not taught in the history. And I remember seeing on Twitter, like around when June 19th was coming up, and there was
June,
like everything kind of exploded, and someone was like, I can't believe I had to learn from Watchmen about Juneteenth.
But it was such a good show. Like one of the cool things about that show is that you took this crazy, wild superhero world, which they told a great story in anyways, but wove in this bit of history that you kind of force people to learn about because the show is so good. Right. Just racism in American history is something that's not easy to learn about. It's really easy to walk away from if it doesn't affect you. So it really puts it there and it kind of forces you to learn something that isn't fun to learn about necessarily. You know what I mean?
It's also not. It's just not taught in general.
It's not taught.
They teach a lot of history, and some of it is tragic, but it's always tragic in the sense of like, we lost this conflict, not these innocent people died because these people are monsters. Like they don't talk about that kind of stuff, and that's. I mean, that's we could talk about this for like a whole episode, but like, history is told by the victors, and that's white people. So that a lot of the history that we learn is skewed, and you can't be held accountable for things that you're not taught. That's not fair. But going out and seeking knowledge about events like this it really helps kind of broaden your knowledge about some nasty truths that happened in our country and other countries. It's everywhere. Like, you learn the country, you learn the history your country teaches, and every country likes to think that they're the hero in their own story. So, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Message.
Yeah. The more you know. Bling.
Did you get an answer to the director of Rosewood, or did you fall down?
Well, I can't even find Rosewood.
He's just looking at porn on his phone. He's like, was I supposed to be doing something else? I'm just walking the dog.
He's walking the dog again. That's precisely correct.
I couldn't find it under Rosewood, and so I thought, okay, I think it's Mario Van Peebles. So I looked through him, and he was in this movie called Posse, what I'm remembering him from.
You're lost. You're lost.
You're falling down the hole, man. Climb out.
Yeah, you're gone. I'm trying to think what else I watched.
Ving Rhames?
Yeah, I was pretty sure.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. Yeah, dramatization of a 1923 horrific racist lynch mob attack on an African American community. John Voight, Ving Rhames, Don Cheadle.
Wow.
Character actor Bruce McGill. There's a lot of people in this. Oh, Esther Roll's in it.
What was the name of it?
Florida.
Since it was.
It is called. Yeah. John Singleton directed it. Look at you, Dave. Good memory. This movie's from 1997.
He belongs here.
Hey, man, I do have a degree in film. Like,
He's like, I've done this shit before.
I should know a little bit of things about things. Mostly at this point, my film degree is used by my wife, and she just consults me for crap for work. So other than that,
That's
Nice.
it's not coming into my actual.
What else did you get it for, really, that degree?
That's right. Yeah, to impress women. That was the point.
Of course.
Right? Yeah.
We'll have a special Battleship Potemkin episode.
That's right. I can tell you all about how it influenced such things as the staircase scene in Untouchables, directed by Brian De Palma. But yeah, now
we're in the weeds.
Really often in the weeds.
No, that's awesome. We actually we watched the last 15 minutes of the Untouchables the other night. Actually, it just randomly came on, and I forgot. Actually, that's funny you say that. The staircase. You're talking about the end staircase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I forgot how tense and taut that is. My 8-year-old, it's not that. You watch it a few times, it's the first time she had ever seen it, and she was flipping nuts about the baby going down the stairs.
The baby going down the stairs, and the mom chasing it, and the Tommy guns going on.
Oh my god! And you forget how well they use the camera, the violins, like all of it. That whole scene. I know it was nominated and stuff like that, but that's one of those go back and watch because it's a really fucking good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Think about watching. We watched it probably 2 months ago. We still do our weekly movie nights, and so Thursday night at some point I was like, "Hey, let's watch Untouchables," and forced everyone to watch it. It's one of my favorites. I love the movie. But other than that, my wife and I are watching Veep. We had never watched it before, so we're working our way through that.
That's a good one.
I think we're in season 4.
Wow.
Somewhere around there.
I watched the first couple episodes, but I never got further than that.
Yeah, that's kind of how we were. We kind of, multiple times. And then, we got HBO Max and we were like, okay, we might as well. And so we've, mowed through every other sitcom known to man at this point that's worth watching. Most of them multiple times. So something new was welcome. And it's been good. It's not a perfect show. Some episodes are flat, some episodes are so funny you can't can't believe no one's ever seen them all, but it's got good stuff, it's got bad stuff, it's a fun show. And then trying to think of what else. We watch the show Raising Hope. It's like our stupid we watch it just before we want to fall asleep show. It was on Fox.
I enjoyed that show.
It was a pretty good show.
Especially the the first couple of seasons were really good.
Wait, the first 2.5.
Goofy kid.
Yeah, the kid. It's Martha Plimpton and Garrett Dillahunt. And the best part was the role he had before this was Cromartie on the Sarah Connor Chronicles, right?
Yeah,
so he was essentially a Terminator, and he goes from playing a Terminator to playing this dipshit dad.
Yeah, really ridiculous and silly. But it was cool. It really showed me a range for him that I didn't know he had. So that was really cool.
He was one of the best parts of Sarah Connor Chronicles. And then to see him in a comedic role is really pretty impressive. So
yeah,
it holds up for a second viewing. We've laughed, we've enjoyed it. It's been a while since we watched it the first time. So that's pretty much it. We've watched a ton of stuff. It's the pandemic, and I think everyone else has as well.
Yeah.
Have you watched Red Oaks? You're talking about sitcoms so I watched that on Netflix. This was middle of the pandemic that we never got to talk about on an episode we almost did. Sorry to break right back in with it, but if you're looking for another fun one that you can binge very quickly, that's pretty good. Red Oaks, pretty good. Story.
What would you put it in type of sitcom? Pick a famous one that it's similar to. Sorry, folks at home. We've asked Pete to think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to
that
think
little
of
spinning wheel symbol came up above his head.
Exactly. No, I can't think of something I can accurately compare it to, but that's not saying it's original, groundbreaking kind of sitcom thing. It's nothing like that. It's based in the 80s. It's just
Wonder Woman.
So it's like Wonder Woman 84.
No, this is in the 80s. It knows it's in the 80s. It leans into the 80s.
So it's Wonder Woman 84.
Exactly.
So it's closer to Stranger Things.
Yes.
In that it's more
setting wise, yeah,
accurately, portrays the 80s.
Most definitely. But they're this kid comes home from school and he's working at a this country club, Red Oaks, for the summer. It's a job he's always had, and he starts a video business, and he breaks up with his girlfriend. It's just all the stuff that happens to him over this summer, and then subsequent summers. Like his dad, his dad, like in the first episode, his dad has a heart attack, and admits to him that his mother's a lesbian, and he was always in love with this Asian lady that he met when he was in Korea in the Korean War. And it's played by Paul. God, what is his name?
Bunyan.
No, Opie hates him. He's
Giamatti?
No. It's not. I know it's not actually Paul. Richard Kind.
How can
Super
you
close.
hate Richard Kind?
I don't know.
I feel like it's easy enough to hate him.
I think he's funny.
I think he's
I think he can be, but
yeah.
he's also can be a little bit like, that's enough of you now.
Yeah, because he's
really
always
good.
Richard Kind.
He's always that character.
Yeah, he's always that character.
Yeah.
He's good in this.
Bing Bong is his best role. Changed my mind.
His mom is played by Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing and
Dirty Dancing.
fame.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off fame.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie, or a fun series. And if you're looking for something just a little different that is sitcom-y like that, but still also has like a lot of heart, you'll dig it, and it goes quick. So
Cool.
It's just one more thing. Alex, you're up.
And you said it's Red Oaks?
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
it's on Netflix.
Because I looked up Red Oaks and I'm seeing it as an Amazon.
Oh, was it on
I
Amazon?
don't know if that's.
Oh yeah, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's on Amazon.
Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
This guy.
I know, man.
My bad. Excuse me. Yes. Yeah. No. Okay. Nasser, the other club tennis pro, is this Indian dude. He's hilarious because he has this like almost upper crusty British accent, and he's just kind of all about scamming and kind of trying to get with the older single widows at the club. And
Well, yeah.
Sounds like a good gig.
yeah.
Isn't that why anyone ever becomes a sports pro, especially in the 80s?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Just to wear those little shorts and hook up with cougars.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Did you say it was Nash? Was the character? Oh, it's Ennis Esmer. I love Ennis Esmer.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his.
See, I had never seen him in anything else other than this.
He was on Dark Matter. He shows up in there, and then he's a main character on
Creek.
Yes, he's in a few episodes of Schitt's Creek, and then he was a main character on Blind Spot on NBC.
Who was he in Schitt's Creek?
He was the guy that she kind of dates, the traveling hotel reviewer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That Stevie dates there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's really funny. It's well overlooked because I mean the things like the show's friggin' from, what is it, 2017. So it's like,
it's like
in terms of streaming stuff, it's like done. It ended, no more seasons.
Yet.
It's like,
yeah,
it's all pre-COVID. It doesn't really matter at this point.
Feels like a different life.
Yeah, if they weren't wearing masks, I don't want to watch it. It's not realistic.
Exactly.
It's actually, I know you guys don't watch a lot of broadcast, but it's been very interesting to see how like broadcast TV and a lot of shows that are on there are dealing with it and working within the confines of it. Like I really like this like lawyer procedural show called All Rise. And they have worked it into it. All like the working in this courthouse, like how they have to do everything, all the plastic that's up, all the characters stay 6 feet away from each other. One of the judge's husband's an FBI agent, so when he comes home, he has to quarantine away from her for like 14 days because he doesn't know if he's been exposed. And they test him, blah, blah, blah. And it's very interesting because they've taken it and they've written it in such a way that it is just kind of like the way it is now, at least for me, where it's just kind of the background
to
my life. Now it's like I'm just kind of like not that the mask ever bothered me, but it's just a thing now. It's just like I know wherever I go, I have to have a fucking mask with me.
I mean, it bothers me, but I do it still because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I still don't want to fucking wear it.
I just don't leave my house.
That's the trick.
Yeah, I don't need to wear a mask. I'm always at home.
No, that thing's just part of my face. Just I'm out in it all the time.
Yeah.
So
I know I fell off of it. I haven't watched probably the last 2 or 3 seasons at this point, but I did see an ad for Superstore, which was a show that I used to watch quite a bit, and they all had masks on. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting because they work in like a retail environment. I'd actually kind of like to see how they're handling that. But
I'm only a few episodes behind. But the first episode of this season kind of dealt with it, where it kicks off with they're just announcing the pandemic. Everybody's like, oh, nothing's going to happen, and then it jumps forward a couple of weeks, and then a couple of weeks. So they like skip into the pandemic pretty quickly in the first episode.
Okay.
But I'm like 5 or 6 episodes behind probably now.
I feel like in that setup, some anti-masker like stuff could make for some great comedy. I mean, there's all kinds of room to play with
just Karens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they've announced that there's only one more season of that show. So I think they're only going to do one more. Yeah.
See, it looks so funny to me, but it's good. It's one I've never gone and watched. Like, because I watch whatever's on after Superstore. I watch, like we watch and like we tape it, you know, it's on our DVR. So it like I get to see like that last like minute of Superstore. And I'm like, this show looks fucking funny. Why don't I? And I've just never gone to watch it.
Well, you should watch it. You're basically a main character.
So yeah, you look exactly like fucking what's his face?
Glenn.
Glenn.
Makes me laugh so much.
Tried to watch the
Alex,
show.
you said that.
Has Martin King
seen a lot of it, but it was okay.
Yeah, it is okay. It's not like it doesn't blow your mind, but it's a good time, especially if you've worked retail. I think you appreciate it a lot more if you've worked retail, just because you're like, I've dealt with that guy before. Like it's just like that. That definitely gives it a little bit of a leg up. What did you say, Kevin? I didn't quite hear you.
I don't remember.
Tight.
Nailed it.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we on what Alex has watched? Is that
flowing like water? Yeah, I'll just go through my stuff. I have a decent amount. I'll go through it pretty quickly here. Something that I think we've all seen, but we talked about it last week, and as I was scrolling through, I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna give that another watch just for fun. I watched Ready Player One again because I know we were talking about it the other week.
Yeah.
And again, I still haven't read the book, and maybe never will. I'm not a big reader, if I'm being honest. The movie's
I can highly recommend the audiobook if you can.
That's what I've been listening to.
Yeah. Audiobook might work for me
because it's done by Will Wheaton, and it's kind of funny. He's like even referenced in the book, and there's some serious tongue in cheek in the delivery. It's really well done.
That's super cool. Maybe I'll give that a listen. I don't know, man. Like the movie obviously it's just kind of dumb and fun and just a visual spectacle, but just the amount of pop culture references alone get me through that film. Like
that blew me away.
Every second.
That's the book. That's the whole book. Like the book is just pop culture porn.
But I know that in the movie, obviously, just because of when it came out, it's the properties that they used are different. And
yes,
it just blows my mind. Like how I know it's Spielberg and he can do whatever he wants, but I'm like, how did he get all these fucking things in one movie?
Because
I can't imagine the number of favors that dude called in.
I know. I was like
it's just crazy.
Exactly. Well, that was one of those things. Like, and it's that kind of book versus movie kind of thing, because people who read the book and love the book are very disappointed by a lot of the changes that were made.
Oh, it's all changed.
The same thing with American Psycho.
I never read that.
You know, go back to that. Well, that's the thing with that is that book from beginning to end is one giant commercial for products in the 80s. Like it's constantly throughout that. And so if they were to stress that the same way they do in the book, you would have product placement for friggin' everything all the time.
And it's expensive.
And
that's why I'm like, how did he get Back to the Future, King Kong, Godzilla, like Overwatch, Halo, like everything from every facet of media. There's Gundam versus Mecha Godzilla with Iron Giant, like just like I'm like what?
Yeah.
Like it's just fun in that sense. It's just trying to see who I missed. I'm like, oh, there are the Ninja Turtles. Oh, there's Hello Kitty. Like it's just like,
oh yeah, all the time.
It's
you go back and watch that final battle scene.
Yeah, that scene is insane. He's wearing Han Solo's belt with a Thundercats buckle. It's just like, come on.
Spielberg is a movie god. Like he's got that. He's got the pull that not many people have.
Yeah.
So if anybody was going to make it, it had to be.
Wanted to have their stuff in there.
Right? You would think
at this point,
a lot of the, like the person who owns the rights to Hello Kitty's like, yeah, man, like,
yeah,
please.
I feel like also he didn't necessarily like shit on anybody's franchises
at all.
Like it wasn't like, you always see, the Ninja Turtles getting beat up or something like that. Like all the characters were like some of them obviously got beat up, but for the most part, he kept it to like the original characters in the movie who were the ones getting their asses kicked most of the time. So it's like, I feel like obviously he's like, yeah, they'll be fine. They'll do some cool stuff and that'll be it. And they're probably like, okay.
It worked in that way because you bought into the fact that the Ninja Turtles, like everything you saw, had a human reality that was outside of this, kind of mainframe.
I would absolutely spawn into that game as Michelangelo. Fuck yeah, dude! Like, is it?
But you bought like everything that happened. Like it's like, okay, he got lucky and you blew that up or whatever. So it was like, okay, that makes sense. Why Hello Kitty is taking out an AT-AT or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Like.
It's just fun. I watched it again. I feel the same about it as I felt before. It's not like the greatest movie ever. Some of the acting's pretty cringe, and some of the story plots you're like, what? But then, stuff starts exploding, and amazingly cool pop culture characters come out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, I'm in. Like, it's just a fun distraction, and that's exactly what it was. It's like, having a good.
There's some good stuff in there. The end of that movie's really pretty trash, but
it is.
Most of the, like you described, most of the the stuff where they're in the Oasis and when they're kind of dealing with that part of it is really just fun.
It's super fun. So I watched that, but I've seen that before. So everything else that I watched new wise, that I was going to watch last week, but Cats ruined my existence for a few days.
You mean made everything better?
Yes, it's enhanced my life in ways that I could never imagine. I finally got around to watching Darkest Hour, which is the Gary Oldman as Churchill film.
Oh yeah.
Because I love Gary Oldman, and I never watched it for some reason, and so I was like, I'm just gonna fucking do it. It's great. He's great. The movie is expertly crafted in every way, from acting to cinematography to just historical like relevance and also accuracy. And it's really interesting to see this figure that like everyone knows who Winston Churchill is, at least like to a slim degree.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just interesting seeing him in more of like a personal environment. It's not all prime minister stuff. It's not all war stuff like you see him with his family. And, there's a lot of kind of fun behind the scenes stuff. And obviously, like who knows how accurate it is, but as far as I know, they did a lot of research for this film to kind of portray him and the surrounding events as accurately as possible for, as much information as they could get about that time. And regardless of that, even if some of it is fictional, which I'm sure a lot of it is, it's just a damn good film. I really enjoyed it, like from start to finish. And Gary Oldman is brilliant, and he absolutely deserved his Oscar that he won for that film, because he won best actor, if I'm not mistaken, for that film. And I'm like, yep,
sounds right.
Yeah,
it was
great.
A good actor, anyways.
He really is. He's my absolute favorite. Like every time I see him, it doesn't matter what, even if the movie is subpar, like if he's there, I'll be like, I'm in. I'll watch this. Like he just gives.
Established it was Joaquin Phoenix.
No. Joaquin Phoenix is a running joke, and so is Henry Cavill. My actual favorite actor is Gary Oldman. Joaquin Phoenix,
unless Cavill has his shirt off.
Well, then obviously he skyrockets to number one.
Right.
But Joaquin Phoenix is a requirement for me to watch what's on Amazon Prime. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
Although
Darkest Hours.
he is a great actor too. I got to give him that.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. Yeah, Joaquin is fantastic. I think I just like Gary Oldman better as a person, like in interviews and shit. Like he's so humble and just kind, and then when he's on screen or doing whatever, he's genuinely a different person. Whereas like Joaquin is great, but even when he's like in interviews, he's kind of just like he is when he acts to a degree, where Gary can just turn into a completely different person, which is exactly the sign of a good actor. So he's my jam. So Darkest Hour, I highly recommend it. I believe it is on Hulu. I own it, but my fucking Apple TV was being an absolute jerk and it wouldn't play the movies that I own, so I had to watch it on Hulu. But yeah, check it out if you haven't. Has anyone else seen it?
I'm looking
it's on our list.
It's available on. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was Hulu that I found it on that let me finally watch it without it just fucking crashing out every 5 seconds. So yeah, check out that. Let me see. I watched another movie that I kind of never even really thought like, oh, I want to see that. It was more like I was scrolling through and I was like, why not? And I clicked on it. It was the movie came out, I think, last year. I think it was 2020 that it came out. Underwater with Kristen Stewart. It's kind of like that horror sci-fi film.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
It's not horrible.
It has its moments.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like Alien, but under the sea instead of in space. The one thing that I think is both a detriment and also kind of a brave choice that does work in a way is, unlike Alien, it gives you no time to get to know anybody. There's no setup for this film. It literally starts and shit starts happening. It's just like, whoa. Like I genuinely thought it was a dream sequence at first. Because like the scene you see in the trailer where she's like brushing her teeth and then it starts like water comes into the station. That's the first scene. And I was like, oh, this has to be a dream. Like she's going to wake up in her bed and then we're going to get to know it. Nope. That's the actual thing happening. I was like, wow. So like at one point I was like, that's ballsy to do something like that and have no setup whatsoever. And then at the other time, I'm, when you start running into other characters, you're like, kind of wish I got to know these people a little bit better. I don't really care about them right now. So it has a pro and a con in that sense, but I will give it credit for trying something. And
some things that happen with the other characters, you don't really care about because you don't have enough time to like the characters.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to rely on how much Kristen Stewart likes them to like them. You know what I mean? So.
How well she knows them or et cetera. But visually, it's very impressive. The CG and the practical sets are really, really good. Doesn't disappoint in that category. Does some interesting things in the plot that are unexpected. And overall, I'd say it's a pretty good sci-fi action horror film. If you're kind of bored and looking for something like that, you could do worse, but you could also do better. So
where did you find it?
Ooh.
Underwater is on HBO right now.
All right.
Yeah. So
that kind of thing would stress my wife out. So I'm totally down.
I watched it alone. I didn't even tell Sam. She was like upstairs working on her art or something. And I just was like, I'm just going to watch this now while she's not here. Cause I feel like she would just not enjoy this at all.
My wife's biggest fear is asphyxiation. So like underwater movies, like
that'd be
cave movies, space movies. Prometheus, just like the heavy breathing that's constant throughout the entire film, stressed her out.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I feel like that's rough then, because if I had to say that this was, like I kind of already said it, it's sort of like Alien in the ocean, but it also has a lot of sort of tinges of like The Descent would not be good for her.
I do like she hated The Descent. I tricked her into watching that one too.
That's honestly
entered into one of my favorite games.
One of the best modern horror movies, in my opinion.
It's great.
The Descent. It's so fucking good.
It's great. Yeah.
As sort of a continuation for something I've been watching, but it through all of Next Generation recently and all the movies, but I was like, oh, I want to see this now with
Nice.
like a more mature mindset and different eyes, and it's fantastic. TNG is amazing. And so now I'm starting Deep Space Nine, which I never watched.
I never watched it either, but I've heard so many good things from people who say that there's fantastic stuff in there. So I'm curious as to how that works out for you.
I've heard the same, and it's hard right now because it's not the crew of the Enterprise.
And you've been watching for 9 seasons and 7 movies, or whatever it is.
It's
basically.
It's funny because I've been to a couple of Star Trek conventions. I've been to a few, and to see the TNG cast talk about Deep Space Nine is hilarious. Marina Sirtis calls it Deep Sleep Nine, which is awesome. She's insane. She is a crazy person. Like, she's so funny in real life.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, she's the polar opposite of her character. It's amazing.
A lot of them are. Brent Spiner, like even Michael Dorn. Like, Worf is like this crazy hot-headed warrior. Michael Dorn's like the most chill person ever.
Yeah, he's super.
So it's. But I'm chugging through it. We're and I did watch a few episodes of it when I was younger, but it wasn't like TNG where we watched it like every day or week or however often it was on. So I know the characters already, but they're not my favorite yet. But some of them are becoming. I like them more and more as the show goes on. So I'll stick with that and see how that goes. But I'm having fun. And then the last thing I just want to talk about real quick is a video game as well, which I've been playing recently. I actually have already played through to completion on PS4, but I re-downloaded it on PS5, the PS5 version. I'm playing the new Watch Dogs game, Watch Dogs Legion.
I haven't played that yet. I was actually waiting for the PS5
and that game is and I think I would say that that's probably a good idea. Just load times alone are worth it. It doesn't look that much better. Like, it looked fine on PS4. It looks a little better on PS5, but the load times are definite. That really sets it apart from pretty much everything else that exists, is that every person in the entire open world, and you're in the city of London, so it's like literally thousands of people, but every single character in the game, you can recruit them and then become them. And so the idea is that you're sort of starting this underground resistance in London to fight back against this oppressive sort of police force that's come in, and they're doing all the bad typical police force stuff that you see in those kinds of movies or games. But the idea is that you go around and recruit different people in the city, and everyone has like different skills. So say, for example, you need to get into like a construction site. You can find a construction worker and recruit them and then become them. And then you can like just walk into the construction site because you essentially like work there. So and same thing, like you can recruit some of the bad people from the like police state place, like if you need to sneak into their facilities. And there's like goofy stuff, like you can find spies because it's in London, so they're like James Bond types with silenced weapons and shit. And there's like a bunch of fun stuff. Are we losing people right now?
I think we are. I know my internet went goofy for like a second.
Yeah,
like a couple minutes ago, like you guys froze and I got a little digital, but then it popped right back. And then I saw we lost David's camera, and then Kevin just left.
Yeah, we lost Kevin. I turned my camera off so that I could, discreetly pick my nose.
Okay. Well.
Nice.
You're all welcome.
Appreciate it. Should wipe it on the camera now so we can look at it.
That's
right. But yeah, it's a really interesting game in the sense that like there are no limits. Anyone that you see on the street, you can be them technically. And obviously there's people that you would never even want to, like they have no perks or skills or anything you would ever want. They're just walking around. But you can like hold your little phone device up and scan them, and it'll say like, this person is this, and they have access to these skills, and some are good and some are bad. Like sometimes you'll see like, this person is a gambler, so they'll just spend your money randomly. Or this person has a rare disease, so they might just die and then you lose them. So like or that, you know, and there's good ones obviously as well. Like this person takes less damage, or this person can summon an army of drones, or, you know, this person has an invisible car that shoots missiles. Like these are all real things in the game. And it's so goofy and fun, and it's just very high concept, because nothing like that has ever been done where just everyone is technically a playable character. So I've been having fun, and
sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. So just wanted to shout out the Watch Dogs Legion.
I did have one more thing I forgot to talk about, which was I watched a show called a movie on Netflix called The 40-Year-Old Version. And I'd never heard of it, and it was suggested for us to watch it, and it was really good. And it's basically about this woman named Rada Blank, who is a playwright in New York City, and she was a big thing, you know, when she was in her late 20s, and then now she's about to turn 40, and she's just not a big thing anymore. So she decides to reinvent herself as a rapper. And it's quite a fun, touching, funny movie. It was like, it's about, she wrote it, directed it, stars in it. So it's clearly like a personal story kind of thing. And she's actually got skills, and it's really funny. It's really funny. It's well worth watching.
And then version, like software version, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, and it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. I think, you know, she made it and then took it to Sundance, and then Netflix bought it. They're going to claim it's original, which she made the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really good. It was recommended to us, and, you know, we watched it. Again, we do our Thursday movie nights. We're like, why the hell not? So we watched it, and it was really good. Everyone enjoyed it. So highly recommend.
It's cool. So it feels real indie. Like I'm looking through the cast, and I'm like, I don't recognize any of these fucking people.
Oh yeah.
Which is probably all our friends. That's cool, man. I thought you were trolling at first. You're like, I just saw a movie I've never seen called The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I was like, really?
No, The 40-Year-Old Virgin's a damn fine film, but no, that was not. No, it's really hard to tell people about this movie because the name is so similar.
Now, why did they choose that title? I'm sure it has context in the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think she's stupid. I think she did title it the way she titled it because it is so hard to say that without thinking about the 40-year-old version. But you get it's the 40-year-old version of her.
Also, if you start typing in the 40-year-old into any search to like watch that movie, you're gonna find her movie. So that's
exactly.
That's also good for
so
free marketing.
You know, it's pretty. It was a fine film, and very indie.
Cool. Do we want to figure out where the hell Kevin went, and then
maybe take a break time?
Or maybe the end if he doesn't come back.
Break for Kevin. Possibly talk about WandaVision when we come back.
That would be what we talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've lost our host though. He's like asleep.
No. No. I'm looking. I'm trying to text Kevin right now. He said because he put in the group. Not sure if it's my internet or computer, but I'm frozen at the moment. Just keep going and I'll get back. But that was like.
Did you read that so sensually?
I know, right? I
just
keep
going.
Like Kevin at all to me. Kevin's gonna be really excited to hear what his voice sounds like in your head. When he listens to this, he's like, "Oh, that's how Pete thinks of me." Great.
Not sure if it's my internet or the computer, but I'm frozen at the moment. Just keep going and I'll get back.
That's better.
There we go.
I was nearly spot on. I felt like he was here almost.
See.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break and when we come back, we'll talk about WandaVision.
Perfect. Everybody go potty.
Hopefully Kevin's here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is the All Pop No Culture podcast that you've been listening to. I don't know what's so funny, Peter. This is super serious. Can you calm down, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm here to tell you, against my will, about other ways that you can talk to us besides not talking to us, because this podcast only allows us to communicate one way.
So if you want to communicate the other way, we have a phone number. It's 925-400-8447. So go ahead and call us on that. Can they call on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And leave a voicemail.
And that, yeah, because we're not going to answer for sure.
Yeah, but we'll use it on air.
Yeah, for sure. We also have a Gmail account because we're basic as fuck. It's allpopnoculturepod@gmail.com. We also have a website, which is allpopnoculture.com. And we have other things like a Facebook page and an Instagram account and
Twitter.
And a Twitter. And that's it.
YouTube.
And YouTube. Yeah, well, if they're watching this, they have YouTube already, so they know that one. Right?
I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Shh.
That's a good point.
I'm doing this my way, okay? I thought you said you were not going to talk.
I tried.
You're distracting me.
Oh, my stomach hurts.
And if you are watching this, I'm so fucking sorry.
And welcome back.
Yay.
Kevin's back. Yay.
We found him.
Yay. I don't know if our break reorganized all our peeps on the screen.
Slightly, yeah. You used to be up there, and now you're not there. Now you're over here.
You're exactly where you were for me.
Yeah, everything looks the same for me too.
Yeah, I think Dave and Pete swapped on me.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
It's like Freaky Friday, but not as good.
Yeah, but Dave's really sad now.
Yeah.
I feel like I lost.
Freaky Friday, but you just kill yourself immediately. You're like, no.
Just take one for the team.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
the one thing we all did watch last week was the long-awaited first TV property for Marvel on Disney Plus, WandaVision.
Wanda.
I'm totally happy with it.
Okay.
I think it's really, really cool. I'm so confused by it in so many ways already.
That I can agree with you on that part.
Like I've read some stuff that's like analyzed some of it, and there's a lot of deep reference to some comic book stuff that happened. This whole X-Men thing called the House of M that all went on, and they've referenced a lot of that. And it's been said that this is going to kick off the idea of the MCU's multiverse.
Yeah.
And how that's going to work. And even though I'm confused, it's so cool with everything that they've done and the little bit that they've kind of teased out, and that I'm hooked. Like, I'm ready for next Friday. I thought I love the way they made like their old episodes of Bewitched, basically in some
Yeah, I totally
way.
recognize that this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it like in the first one you kind of got it, but the second one, the intro is straight up like.
Well, they're doing like different eras for each episode, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
I kind of got like a I Love Lucy vibe from the first one, and then like a Bewitched from the second one.
Yeah, I saw a Dick Van Dyke referenced for the first one.
Oh,
Too.
yeah,
I see that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then Bewitched was the second, was referenced for the second one.
Yeah, for sure. Like that, maybe like it was so like on the nose, which I thought was really great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
but I don't know if younger kids, is it wasted on younger kids though?
For sure.
Like, because it's so specific.
Yeah.
Yes and no, because there's enough of the humor that Bewitched and the Dick Van Dyke Show had, that kids will still pick up on that. My 8-year-old, I described it to a friend. I actually had a friend on Facebook asking, like, is it worth it for my kids to watch it? They say they really want to watch it. you know, are they old enough? It's like 7. It's like 7 and 10. And I was like, yeah, they're gonna be lost in a lot of it. You know, like I watched it and Stella,
Will
my
they
8-year-old,
though? I mean, they're not going to get the deep stuff, but
No,
we
they
don't
don't.
get the deep stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
so deep at this point.
Yeah, I do love the fact that they had separate beds when it showed them in their
Yes.
bedroom.
That was funny.
Like that was a good little throwback.
I'm enjoying it a lot as well. I the first like 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm not really sure what's happening. Like I knew this was kind of how it was going to be, but I'll just go with it and kind of see how it kind of all shakes out. And
Yeah.
I think after the first 2 episodes, like I'm really impressed with not only how they've sort of paid homages to these old shows and sort of this old style of even filming and everything like that, but then the way that when sort of whatever is going on with them, the modern world, we'll just call it, starts seeping in, how the whole filming style changes for the show. It goes from like a 3-cam sitcom to like a horror movie, like Alfred Hitchcock shit. And I was just like, whoa, like it's just really clever the way that they change just a few things very subtly to give like a totally different feel from one scene to the next when they start, you know, seeping in these, you know, these sort of we'll call them lost like mysteries where you're not really sure what's going on, but obviously it's significant and things will unfold and explain themselves later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really charming and fun and a little goofy, but in a good way. And it has me, I really want to know what's happening is the trick. Like, I'm just really excited to see like, what the fuck? Like I have ideas and I'm staying away from all the articles about, oh, it could be this or it could be that. I'm like, I don't even want to put those ideas in my brain. Like, I just want to kind of see this as is. And then when the show's all done, I can go back and read some of that stuff. But there's a lot of,
I did read a couple of like, you know, this is happening or that's happening.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't remember a couple of the references and I knew that I should. But I haven't got into any real spoilers. It's all been essentially fan theory and things that I should already know. So I don't feel too bad about it, but I definitely don't want to be spoiled. Like I don't want to be reading ahead.
Right.
So. I haven't found anything. I've read a few things online and I haven't found anything that is going to give you any spoilers for ahead.
It's not even about spoilers. I just want to be surprised by what the show is going to tell me.
Which is good because there is one article I read that like I got a little tidbit of information from that I was like, I wish I didn't know that. only because it would have been fun to see how it actually like leaks out in the show without me knowing what it is.
Right.
It's nothing fucking major. Like it's not like,
of course, I mean it can't be because Marvel's so tight-lipped about all their shit.
Exactly.
Like, nothing has been leaked. It's more just speculation.
I'm ready for next week. I think the movies are great and everything else, but I feel like Disney Plus, for as much as we kind of joked about it when it first came out, these Marvel TV shows, if they follow the same trend that The Mandalorian kind of started, like the movie world is going to be great, but I think they found a completely new format for the way a lot of these stories with these franchises should be told. Not can be done. Because I mean, essentially you're giving, you know, it's a nice long form version of being able to do a movie. And I think that's part of the reason why the Mandalorian works, because they got to tell the whole story of what they wanted to. That could have been one movie.
I mean, it could have been, but
it wouldn't have been even close to as good. And I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen with this. And that's exactly what's going to happen with Falcon and Winter Soldier. So like, okay, this could have been a movie, but why? This is perfect. I just, like I said, I'm already ready for next week. I want to know more, and I'm usually not into mysteries like this, but this is, see this again, this is making me want to watch Lost. because of what you guys have said about it. Because we watched those first 2 episodes back to back, and I was like, no, like I want to binge some more of this. Where's this going?
Yeah, Lost is on purpose though, like a mystery from the second the show opens. Where this is like trying to disguise and like shroud the mystery with like, oh, they're just in like a funny sitcom. And so it's like they're purposefully throwing you off the scent. And I'm like, I want to know why, and like why are they there, and what's going on? Like obviously like I have theories of my own, because as we all know, spoilers, Vision is dead. So it's like, is this in Wanda's subconscious? Like what's happening?
Well, and that's what I thought the plot was, but it doesn't feel that way based on a couple of things that are happening. So yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah. David, you've been quiet.
I was not overly blown away by the show. For me, the base material is not something I'm a huge fan of. Like, I watched a lot of the Dick Van Dyke Show and Bewitched and stuff when I was a kid because it was the only thing that was on, but I never really found it entertaining.
Yeah.
So for me, they do a beautiful recreation of that, but they've recreated something I didn't care for to begin with.
Yeah.
So for me, that kind of, and so I'm watching it knowing that there's going to be some other stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I get that stuff, but it's very little. And so
far,
for me, it felt, so far. But for me, it felt like a lot of work to get a little bit of information.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not as much fun, the actual show part of it. It's a little campy, and it's what the source material was.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was even sillier than the first one.
I love the magic show. So
the magic show was
God.
I actually thought that scene was really fun.
Yeah, that was so fun.
But I thought the whole gum thing was so ridiculous because all he had to do was turn immaterial and let the gum fall out of his body.
Of course.
Like it's the whole thing is so ridiculous.
The one thing I will say is that I do think that the actors are doing a very good job.
Yes.
They're having so much fun. You can tell.
I think they're doing very good. I do agree that there's a lot of nostalgia and then a few seconds of like hidden information that if Pete said, if this was a movie, they'd be packing more of that other stuff in, and some of this nostalgia stuff would be pushed to the side.
And I do like that every episode you get a little bit newer, you get something new. And spoiler alert for anyone who is.
You should have said that already.
I guess we've already done some stuff, right? It becomes color by the end of that last episode. So, you could see that you're moving forward and other things happen like the pregnancy and stuff. It's just so you can see that the story is actually going to be told fairly rapidly. I am looking forward to the next one. I don't know that I'm going to be like super jazzed to sit down and see it. I'll see it within the first day or so, Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
It's not like we're all busy right now anyways. And I can't fit it into my schedule. So I will definitely be watching it still. It's going to have to like go downhill for me to not want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But the production quality, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. And like you guys said, the acting is really well done. I just wish I was getting a little bit more information.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't want all of the answers because that takes the mystery out of it, right? But just a little bit more, I think, is what I want. But I always want pretty much what everyone else doesn't. So
well, to each their own. It's fine. I mean, that makes good conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like I'm just taking it for what it is. It's trying something new. It feels in a way sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy did, where it's so goofy and out of left field. And you were like, what the fuck is like, who are these people and what's going on? Obviously this is like a different kind of mystery. With Guardians, you were just like, I don't know who the fuck these people are.
Right.
And then with this, you're like, I do know who these people are, but I don't know what the fuck is going on. Something I will say is I rewatched the second trailer for the show after watching the first 2 episodes, and it did give me a lot more context into certain things happening on the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to like kind of just get a little bit more out of it, I would actually recommend like rewatching specifically the second trailer that came out, because I was like, oh, like it kind of opened my eyes a little bit.
It's funny you say that. We did the exact same thing, and I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like we were flipping through it, and my daughter was like, "Oh, watch trailer 2." I'm like, "All right, it's a trailer." And after watching the trailer, you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely clears a couple things up and creates a couple new mysteries, because we're seeing things that we haven't seen in the show yet.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where Catherine Hahn's character goes and exactly what she means to this thing. Yeah.
She's so funny.
Yeah.
She's fucking good at everything she does.
She's the
though.
perfect neighbor. Like
No, but she's like perfect for this role. Like absolutely perfect, because like she's sugary sweet on the surface, but also there's that layer of evil in there, right? And you can see that comes out now and then. And she does that so well.
I also liked in the second episode the actress who plays Bunny.
Bunny.
That's or not Bunny. What's her bucket?
The blonde, right?
Yeah, the blonde.
Yeah.
What was her name? Wasn't Bunny, but I remember
Bunny.
Betty or something like that.
Yes, or it might have been that. She's actually from Buffy.
Yeah, I recognized her. Who the hell was she?
Anya. She's the half
who it was.
girl from Buffy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the funny little nods from that is I forgot what her line was, but she pipes out a line about bunny rabbits. And the character Anya on Buffy absolutely hated rabbits for some reason. There's this whole thing with like she didn't trust them. Or something. So there's little nods to things like that here and there that you do pick up. I did like the super in your face one with the Strucker Hydra watch.
Yeah. I actually
I
the first ad in the first episode for the Stark toaster, before they even said Stark or anything like that, when he clicked it in, it made the repulsor noise, like the charging up, like the beep noise, and I was like, "Whoa, that was a fucking Iron Man sound." I was like, "Oh man, like this show's like gonna be packed full of this kind of crap," and I'm trying to just enjoy it at face value, but I'm also kind of keeping my eye out for it because I know there's probably a million things I've already missed.
I feel like it's a show that maybe you watch the first time for the story and what's going on, and then you watch it a second time and try and get all those little things.
Right. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's more than I'm seeing. Like.
Yeah, somebody already did, like one of my friends saw like, I don't know exactly what it was. I think it was like the reflection in a window or something like that, or like an art piece on the wall was the compound in Sokovia where Scarlet Witch and her brother were being held. Yeah. Like the one that the Avengers attack at the beginning of Age of Ultron. Yeah, like there's there's an image of it. Like they had a screen cap and I was like, oh gosh, like there's probably so many things that I missed in this damn show.
Yeah.
Oh, there's stuff that like there is a ton of stuff in there that if you want to read into it, it could also make it kind of tie like when they're talking about the Sokovia, it's very interesting the way the whole behind the cover the eyes thing. When you think about the way she went behind
and kind of did stuff to people from behind,
stuff behind like that. It just little things like that. The whole Stark toaster thing, and she blames Tony for the with the whole weapons
destroying her country and stuff.
This show, like I feel like it's got so many different layers for whatever level of fan you are of this property. Like you could be a total casual and just like be like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, it's kind of funny. Look at the murder sitcom. Ooh, it's a mystery. Or you could be, a little deeper and you're like, oh, fucking that and that and that. Or you could be like the total comic book nerd and you're like, well, this is episode 236 of House of M. And they're, like it
I have the entire House of M series in my basement right now.
Do you think this is how they're going to introduce the X-Men?
I don't think so.
You know what? So
'Cause
one thing I
she-
did read there is something that there's something that has been confirmed. The first X-Men, well, at least for the article I read, the first X-Men to make his appearance is going to be Quicksilver, back as her brother.
That doesn't really work for the X-Men though in this universe because they're not mutants.
Yeah,
But
they're not the children of Magneto.
that's the interesting part. But it's going to be what's his bucket from First Class. It's not going to be.
Oh, it's not going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson.
So it'll be like a multiverse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I liked the Quicksilver from First Class better.
Oh
So
yeah, he's flawless. He's so fun.
It's so funny that the two of them were together in whatchamacallit, Hit Girl.
Kick-Ass, yeah.
Kick-Ass.
He was his buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious to me.
I think it's
they're
funny.
both the same character.
I bet they fucking the one from the X-Men universe probably was like, "You're dead, man."
that was actually his scenes in first in that X-Men were some of the best stuff I think in that entire little series.
Out of the Fox movies,
prison, Jesus.
Out of all the Fox movies, the Quicksilver scenes, the Nightcrawler scene at the beginning of X2 in the White House, where he's just teleporting all over the place.
Yeah.
The Quicksilver scenes in the mansion and in the prison. Yeah,
the Pentagon prison.
And then all of Logan. Like that's basically the best parts of the Fox.
Yeah.
Shit.
Really. Oh come on, X-Men 3 was amazing. Their little Dark Phoenix story with
it was amazing for starting a fire in my cold living room when I burned it.
That was when, man, the first time I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. Vinnie Jones is not the goddamn Juggernaut. I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was over. I was like, you know what?
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
That was like our group's catchphrase for a long time to make fun of things.
Man,
because it's such a terrible, terrible catchphrase.
Well, it was from that I don't know what you would even call it, like YouTube series where they redubbed over the old X-Men cartoons.
Oh,
and I'm the Juggernaut, bitch came from that. Like the cartoon thingies were the cartoons are fucking hilarious. Like they just dub over a bunch of old X-Men cartoons and the Juggernaut's just like he's like super funny and he's always just like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, and then he's just like smashing people. And so they took that from that, and that is and it's really
works
funny.
Great in that kind of setting.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah.
But not necessarily in X3, although that was not by far the worst problem with that film.
No. But that was maybe one of the best parts of that film, realistically.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
It was just one of those. That was one of those hard things in that movie for me because like you expect certain things about certain characters that like I'll take, like cross-racial casting or whatever, or even gender swapping. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll work with that however you want. There's certain things like the Juggernaut's like 7 feet tall and fucking huge. And
they did him perfect in Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That made total sense. When it first opens up and it reveals and it's Vinnie Jones, I'm like, okay. And then he steps out and you're like, wait, what?
It's just kind of Jones in normal dude. Yeah.
Like they're not even gonna try to make him look bigger with CJ. Like,
well, anyway, back to WandaVision. Yeah. We're getting way off topic, but
yeah, it's true.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, I thought it was pretty charming and has enough intrigue to keep me interested and wanting to know what's next. And I'm also really curious to see how they sort of progress through the eras, because I think like they're going through like eras of television to a degree. Like they're going to go through
we're going to hit the
50s,
like
60s,
the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, 70s. Yeah. And even the styles of like how they look in some of the trailers, like you can tell they're from different, like there's a very hippie look for Scarlet Witch and stuff. So it's, I'm really curious to see like, why is that happening? How are they going to like play to that? And then just what the fuck is going on? Because it's just, it's fun though.
Who's really behind it? Because like I said, when it was coming out, you got the impression that like maybe she just lost her shit when
Vision died.
when Vision died, and this is all in her head, because that's essentially House of M. Like she was like, fuck this, I'm going to change the world to my liking, and she can do that. And it doesn't seem like that's what they're doing here. It seems like there's something more nefarious going on.
It feels like a Truman Show kind of thing, where
sort of
almost
something like that,
way,
but not quite the same thing, obviously, right? But some sort of like prison that is somewhat physical but mostly mental,
right?
Because you get the quick glimpses, like you said, when it pulls out to like the horror footage. They're clearly monitoring this from somewhere else, and it feels like a security station or something like that, and that this is maybe a prison, or maybe a mental facility. Maybe she did break, and who knows.
She has the ability. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying that's the big mystery. This is one of the little crumbs that they've given us, and I really wish we'd have been given a third episode. I think that might have been enough to kind of really like cement the desire to keep going.
Yeah.
So in Infinity War, does she get snapped?
Yeah,
she does.
Yep.
So this can't happen in that time gap. Like I'm trying to figure out where it fits into the story, because
it could,
like, for her to be taken and have some experiment done on her, if that's what it is, like it doesn't, I don't see where that would happen in the story.
In theory, they could play it down to, because Thanos obviously had the Soul Stone on him when he did his snap, and the Soul Stone, if someone is essentially killed or sacrificed by it, they get trapped in the Soul Realm. Yeah. I mean, they could play to like, maybe they're trapped in the Soul Realm and this is their reality. Like they each have their own reality while trapped in there, because that could work. Like they could play it to that. I don't think that's what it is. I think this is post Endgame.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. Because I
think you're probably right with that, because between the two of them, when you look at how they react to things and what's going on, she seems to be a little more aware that something is off kilter.
I don't think he's there, is the thing. I think he's a construct of sorts.
Yeah. I want to know who the goddamn beekeeper is.
Yeah. Sure, it's a metaphor for some bullshit.
Yeah. No, that's the one thing that I read that I think I have an idea of who he is based on what I read, but I won't give it away because you guys are trying to avoid some of those spoiler things.
And then the other thing that's spoilers that you really want to know is, if you're going to drop that Iron Man looking helicopter into the bush, but not really confirm that it's Iron Man, someone's reaching out from the inside. Like, to me, that looks like that red and yellow, like instantly the minute she picked it up, I was like, oh.
I didn't really take that as Iron Man. I know that's essentially his color scheme, but I didn't get that from that helicopter. I think it's something else.
Well, I didn't think that it meant Iron Man necessarily, but I did think that the colors were chosen for a reason. But if you look at it, she
wears red.
Yeah, but it's also got that logo on it.
Yeah, it's got the sword logo on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But doesn't sword deal with stuff from like outer space?
Yeah. They're like an extraterrestrial shield, essentially.
In the comic books, but have they established sword in the MCU yet? Because I don't believe that it's been introduced.
They have sort of. Isn't that what he's doing? Isn't that what he's doing in the Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, Nick Fury. Remember, he's in that space station.
Oh, okay.
He is.
Yeah, I assumed that was sword.
Yeah.
Huh.
That maybe not, but that was what I took from it.
I mean, maybe Wanda's power level is such that the space considers her something worth monitoring,
or a threat, or something like that. I mean, she is like the most powerful person, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's the thing is that they haven't let her get into just how powerful she is. Like, she doesn't know how powerful she is.
Yeah, you got a glimpse of it in Endgame when she started thrashing Thanos, but
that was awesome.
Then they can't let her do too much because she could have just ripped him in half if she kept going. So
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. From a storytelling standpoint, you've also got Captain Marvel, who's ridiculously overpowered, right? So if you have those two in there, there's no threat anymore anywhere.
Right.
It's hard to have a threat to the world when you've got two people that can just fucking like change the world.
They're basically imbued with the power of Infinity Stones. Like you have two Infinity Stones on your team, basically, with the two of them.
Yeah.
So they're both incredible, and same with Vision, even though he's not around, or is he? Like that's the other thing. It's like maybe he's still something.
Well, I've still wondered, and I don't know if they'll get into it, but how much they got out of him in
at the end of
Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to
something
bring him
on that, and basically people have asked the brothers, and they were like, "No, we're not going to answer that question." And
about how much they downloaded of his consciousness.
Yeah, about how much was downloaded, and apparently historically, when they don't answer things, they do tend to pop up later. So.
I mean, I don't think that she's in Wakanda. Like the computer stations and stuff didn't look fancy enough for that. So I don't think it has, because in theory, that's where Vision's consciousness would be.
Yeah, right. But it had a nefarious feel to it wherever they are. It doesn't. It doesn't have a friendly, happy vibe to it.
It did, and also I think whoever that is that's watching her right there, I think is the prison warden, because one of the pieces of equipment was like a sampler soundboard piece of editing equipment that they had in there, and that does not seem like something where like the Marvel production crew said, hey, we need some interesting looking equipment to put on the table for this. Like I really feel like it was
everything's intentional.
I feel like they don't make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that room is meant to look like a TV control room, like a producer's. I mean, it's a security room, but it's also like a producing room. It's there to produce the show that they're on. And then in there, the shield or the sword logo is in there as well.
Yeah. I'm glad they put it out on Friday nights. I think this is perfect. It's a nice little way to kind of like Mandalorian is over. We're going to take you right into this. And they're
not going to stop.
They've taken it as their night, right? It's their night. They drop on Friday nights.
Well, that's
everyone watches.
Exactly. But the nice thing about it though, it in some ways it sounds stupid. Take the pandemic out of it, but Friday night was always that dumb spot for broadcast TV. Because nobody's watching TV.
Yeah,
Friday
they're all
nights
out
like that.
doing stuff because they have fun lives or whatever. I don't know what that's like.
The great thing with this though is because it's on a streaming service and it's not on like the Disney Channel or on, ABC or CBS or something. You can watch it whenever you want.
Yeah.
Friday night. Like you don't have to be there home. It's like, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to watch that shit when we get home.
Yeah.
You can be my buddy Frank, who likes to fucking spoiler everything for me, and you can watch it when you first get up in the morning at 6 a.m.
Oh boy. Unfriended immediately if someone did that for me.
He's a guy I work with. He's actually really funny. He's a listener. Hi, Frank. He's constantly fucking with me with spoilers. Like Mandalorian, he did it all the time.
Were they real spoilers, or was he telling you bullshit?
No, it's all bullshit.
Okay, that's different.
That's okay then.
Yeah. No, it was. He's very respectful.
Okay, that's
good. I was gonna say I did find his body at the bottom of a ravine somewhere.
Yeah, basically.
Do that to me. I'd be like, you can't live through this.
Oh no, I would have just blocked him.
They are really gonna be pretty like Marvel shows from now on for the rest of the year are going to be pretty constant. Like they're going to be like one after the other, at least for a long stretch of it.
Which one's next? Is it Falcon?
I think it's Falcon Winter Soldier.
Falcon.
And then Loki, which has already been confirmed for a second season, even though it was only supposed to be one. But it's fucking Loki, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So no, what begs the question though is, did it get a second season because it's just so damn good that they needed a second season, or that they tried to tell the story in the first season and failed, realized they needed a second season to get it all in?
I'm okay with either one.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I can watch Tom Hiddleston play that character
It's so
Like,
good.
Yeah, he is pretty
It
And
still
he's
makes me
he's
laugh.
old Loki too. Like
Yeah.
it's like nefarious trickster Loki. Not I mean he always was that, but obviously he chilled out in the later years.
Well, it makes me laugh. He originally auditioned for the part of Thor.
I know.
Like there's footage out there of him auditioning as
Mhm.
Thor, and I'm
With
like,
like blonde hair and
dude.
shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that's weird.
Yeah.
Like that's Loki. Don't do that.
would've
They
been-
didn't. They made the right choice.
That's
Mhm.
and Tom Hiddleston. That's a lot of protein powder to get him
Yeah.
to Thor.
Yeah,
Like, that's,
he's very lean for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ripped, but he's not bulky in that way.
Well,
Well, no,
actually,
they
so
wouldn't.
so was Hemsworth beforehand. He was a surfer, so he was not a big guy.
But he
he's
had that
tall.
frame. He's got that frame though, and he had a musculature there that all he had to do was pack on some gains. It's just
Yeah, and he did, and now he's packed on even more because he's playing Hulk Hogan.
Oh god. Oh
I didn't
man,
hear about that. That sounds fantastic.
that's gonna be so
He's
good.
he's huge right now, dude. He is so big.
Yeah.
Hemsworth.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram as well, and it's every post I'm like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
getting like you're like almost Cavill size, bud. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
apple size.
Henry
Cavill is a unique
beware.
size.
You're about to get chased off.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
apple size my meal.
So
Yeah.
we get 3 we likes and 1 kind of okay. I'll keep going, but not so impressive yet. It's kind of the general
Yeah.
consensus.
I have a feeling you're gonna by the end of the season you're gonna like it. I don't know why.
I might.
There's
I also, sometimes it's a slow burn. Like I wasn't
Oh, yeah.
totally impressed with The Mandalorian when it came out. I thought it was like, okay. And they got through the whole first season, and I was like, I mean, I'll watch the second season, but I wasn't real excited. And I got the second season. Second season's amazing. So, we might be premiere time next year for WandaVision, and I might think it's the fucking greatest show ever. So
Yeah.
I like to try and keep an open mind, and especially right now at one a week and at half an hour, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Like,
exactly.
You could watch it while you're
not
taking a dump.
huge investment. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nothing. So even if I have to watch it by myself and no one else is willing to watch it with me,
Yeah.
it's only half an hour.
Yeah.
So
And the
I'll
other thing too
definitely
is,
stick with it. Like I said, it's gonna have to get bad before I back off, because I do want to know what the answers are. So
Yes.
but I'm just not also ready to sing its praises. That's
right.
That's
I think
fair.
it depends on what
I
the
get
payoff
that.
is, right? Like if there's a big payoff later on, it makes these episodes worth it.
Yeah,
You just have to
exactly.
get there.
Yeah.
Just like we discussed earlier with Schitt's Creek, right? Those episodes, they're rough, and I'm sure that if this ends and it's a great payoff at the end, then when you come back and watch it, these 2 first episodes probably wouldn't feel rough for me. They probably make perfect sense and they'd feel fun.
And you'd
But-
probably notice a lot of stuff you didn't notice before
Yeah.
too. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for, is just a show where repeat rewatches will give you way more context, and not like in a Letterkenny way where you're like, I don't fucking know what you're saying, so I need to see it again, but like in sort of a uncovering the mystery way, like a Lost way.
Yeah.
Like when you go back and watch Lost and you see like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything because Pete hasn't watched it, but yeah. So I'm optimistic that it'll get really interesting. We'll just leave it at that, because Marvel, they've been firing on all cylinders, and I also think that this is probably their way of sort of easing people in to some of the shit they're going to get into in phase 4, because they're getting into some wacky shit in phase 4.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Like the Eternals and
They're like, we've done all the normal-ish stuff we can do while
Yeah.
staying grounded. It gets real weird for me.
we kept you on Earth for like 90-ish% of it. Now we're just fucking going everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
now we're going nuts.
yeah. So I feel like this is also kind of a break-in episode for that kind of stuff, like the cosmic type shit and the weird shit. So
We're supposed to get more cosmic and more supernatural.
right, yeah, with Doctor Strange and everything. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm really excited at the prospect of this Doctor Strange horror film. Like, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I'm wondering how horror-ish it will be, because Scarlet Witch is in that, confirmed, right? Isn't that a thing?
I think so, yeah.
If I remember correctly, she's in that. Like, she's one of the main cast members.
I believe so.
You think that's maybe this series is leading up to that?
It could.
I think so.
Peter?
Yeah, very well.
I don't know. I
That's
mean,
one
I
of the
don't
theories.
I'm not expecting like Saw level horror. Like,
Well, no,
we're not getting
it's-
that.
It's Disney
But-
horror.
Starts with
Yeah,
fucking Elizabeth
so-
Olsen in like a head clamp, and she's like, ah.
But something jumpy, something a little more tense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I
hope
like,
so.
I'm down for the prospect. I'm excited to see what they do.
it'd be exciting to see something like that from them and see how they do it for sure.
I do also like that they've started off this first TV offering like this with a show like this, instead of giving us like Falcon and Winter Soldier first.
Yeah, because that's a super easy break people in show. Because I'm sure it'll be
Exactly.
very straightforward, which I'm fine with. Those characters are fun to watch.
That's gonna be it's gonna be a buddy cop thing, and I'm cool with that. I'd love
Lethal Weapon with
I love that idea.
superpowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like I wanted this show from the minute they were together in Civil War.
Oh yeah.
The way that they did not get along in that, I was like, they need a fucking movie. And I said that as soon as I finished watching that movie.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to
In the
see this
back of
pay
the
off
damn
like
Volkswagen.
years later. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's cool to see that pay off to give Marvel has a chance, because they wouldn't have made a movie out of it, I don't think.
No, probably not.
But,
No, but
it
this show
does
may
make
have
for a
been
fun
planned.
show.
But
Everything's
I
planned.
don't know that TV shows were on their agenda at the time, though.
I don't know.
I think they have an overall like bulletin board with plot points.
Yeah,
And then as they progress, they sort of, especially now with the success of something like The Mandalorian, they're like, okay, this could probably be a TV show, but this is still going to be a movie. And, but I feel like they have a lot of it pre-planned.
yeah,
And
as far as the larger plot points, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm trying to find it now because I saw this one thing today, and I think they were talking about Marvel, how they actually have stuff already in the hopper and kind of planned out almost through 2029. They have a vision of
Wouldn't
where
doubt
it's going.
Yeah,
I
that doesn't
wouldn't
surprise me
doubt
at
it.
all.
And
I
so
assume as soon as they lock a phase in, like this is phase
Yeah,
3.
I think.
Boom.
Yeah,
We've started phase 3.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got a whole team working phase 4 right then and there.
Yep.
Pre-production, planning,
Mhm.
all of that stuff. And then as soon as they get that locked, new team moves in for phase 5. They just this
no
is a
doubt.
machine, man. Disney wants that money.
And
The
they've
theme
also
park money's drying up.
yeah.
And they've also seen what happens when you don't plan at all in the DC universe. And we had to mention it at least once. On
And in the
episode.
Star Wars universe, right? They just kind of let them do what they you do your movie, he's going to do his movie, he's going to do his movie, and then in the end you get this kind of mess that doesn't really work because there was no cohesive planning.
Right. And there always was, to a degree, with the Marvel movies. It's not as cemented in and sort of firm as it is now, but there always was something. Like the end of Iron Man, Nick Fury shows up and says, like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers. So it's like,
yep.
you knew that they wanted to do something. Whether or not it ever led to anything, I'm sure they were still kind of waiting to see, like, will people even like this and yada yada. But they've always wanted to do something connected, and that's the difference. They didn't just, like, as much as I love Man of Steel, they just made a Superman movie. They never expected to connect it to Batman and Wonder Woman. I feel like that was supposed to just be a standalone story. And as a standalone story, it's great. But then you start doing all this other nonsense and it just starts getting really messy.
Once they saw Marvel printing its own money, basically, they said, well,
Yeah, with Mickey Mouse.
we should
heads on
find
it.
a way to tie all this in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they just
tried.
tried to build a house without ever building a foundation. That's
Yeah.
where Marvel built the foundation and then built this magnificent resort on top of it.
Yeah.
DC just started building, and
They started building
nothing-
rooms, but never like gave them a house to be in.
Yeah,
Which is
it's just a chaotic
ridiculous.
mess.
DC, I mean, legit over Marvel, DC has the most lucrative characters
And recognizable.
and recognizable that they can do. Like when they honestly, because I hadn't read comics so long, when they first announced the Avengers, I was kind of like, I had to like go and look. I was like, wait, I kind of remember that. Like I know Captain America's in it.
Yeah, I read Ultimate Avengers, the graphic novels, when I was younger. So like I knew the characters, but they were never. I was always like, I liked X-Men when I was growing up.
Exactly.
And Spider-Man.
Same here.
And
I
it was
was
just
an
like-
X-Men guy, and I have my own personal comic book nerd. So anytime like these new movies would come out, I would just be like, all right, Nesto, tell me. We did invite him, but he has several NDAs he's signed with Marvel through work. So
which is both like
discuss this stuff,
which is like so totally cool and at the same time a complete bummer.
Yeah.
Maybe once the show's wrapped,
do it, but
he just has to sit here quietly and go, yeah.
But yeah,
but excited to see what's next.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I just think too, like, to go back to DC real quick, it's just like they're still going to try, but they're still going to try and build. They're going to build their multiverse off of what they already have. Like they've already said that they're still going to build off of what they have that's not working.
They need to stop and reboot. And you know that they can do it because they reboot Batman every like 2.5 years, right?
And they gave Joker a standalone movie, which was excellent. I mean, it's like,
and he's getting a second standalone movie.
They do some great
to relate
stuff
into this other stuff.
Like
that's where
Watchmen, everything Watchmen has been fantastic, right? Then that's a DC property, and Joker was great, and that's a DC property, and their animated stuff has been discussed regularly. Is awesome. Really good.
A lot of it's really good.
Whoever they've got in charge of their feature films, you know, that are trying to make.
That's the problem.
Well, they need to set up a team, and
they don't have that Kevin Feige. They don't have that one person that's.
It was supposed to be Zack Snyder, but then what happened with him? And you know, obviously he left, and then all these other movies got made, and it was just like, you can tell that there isn't like a brain trust or a guy that's like, no, don't do that.
Well, but they also took, and I mean, legit, they go, okay, Snyder's got this, he's done this was the tone of this, he's got this was the tone of this. Ooh, he's got to leave because he's got a family emergency. You know what worked for Marvel? Let's bring in Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
he's perfect, and it's a completely different tone.
And the problem is half the movie is Snyder's movie and half the movie is Whedon's movie, which I'm excited for the Snyder cut because at least it'll be cohesive.
Yeah.
Do you think if the Snyder cut comes out and it like makes sense and it's really good, that maybe they recut some of the other films as well, invest some money into them, and try and like
that'd be nice,
save the sinking ship, you know,
redo the end of
build the foundation underneath after the movies have already been made?
That'd be so interesting.
Here's Aquaman, but we're pulling the money without the hair.
No, just
Aquaman, all the CGI out of Aquaman. It's just Jason
you guys are doing
Aquaman
screen. All wrong. Aquaman is a brilliant film.
Oh my god,
it's been nice knowing you, buddy.
That movie is so much. If you watch that movie right, that movie is so much fun. You just it's
fun.
Cheesy.
Do you have to close your eyes and fall asleep?
No, the movie is so funny. For me, it's the only DC movie that works that they've made in a while. Man of Steel is a fantastic film.
Man of Steel's great.
But most of the rest of the films that they've made have just been garbage. At least Aquaman knows what it is. It knows it's a piece of crap, and it leans into it.
No, see, that's the problem. I didn't feel like it knew it was a piece of crap.
Oh, it does. It most definitely does.
I also
every single dramatic scene in that film, everyone ends in an explosion.
I know.
Like
every conversation ends in an explosion.
Everyone. This does not happen on accident. This is a film that knows precisely what it is.
I feel like either you have to be right, or the director thought he was making like the coolest, most innovative comic book movie ever with tons of cool action and surprises, and he took it really seriously. I feel like there's no middle ground. So. I feel like it either has to be what you say or it has to be the other end, but there's no middle ground. It's not like he's like, well, we'll have a little fun with it. Either he was like, fuck this, just have a goofy ass time, or he was just like, no, man, Aquaman's going to be the best DC film.
You can't take that seriously. It's like 5 different movies like crammed into one, right? And all of a sudden at the end, it turns into a kaiju film, right? I mean, you can't predict what this thing's going to do. No, this thing is definitely like, it was meant
DC
to
Universe
be watched.
Fucks us again.
It was meant to be watched and laughed at, and you get like a bunch of people, and everyone just talks shit about the movie the whole time, and you laugh at it. Every time Aquaman comes on screen, the camera starts at his crotch, right? And it slowly pans up across his abs, his chest. It gets to his head. He gets to do the supermodel head shake.
Yeah.
Fling his hair. Action has stopped entirely so that he can do this like beauty pose, and then it picks right back up again every time.
Of course.
Oh, it's
because it's a
fantastic.
bad movie.
It's so funny.
It reminds me of Ang Lee's Hulk, which he thought he was creating like a genuinely cool superhero movie, and he
that
wasn't.
movie's awful.
And
Every time a dove came on the screen,
and that's what it reminds
I kept
me
hoping
of.
someone was going to shoot them all down.
Oh my gosh.
Hulk dogs. That's really all that it
The
comes
Hulk
down
dogs,
to with that
yeah.
one.
His
Oh,
final fight against like a gigantic puddle of water. Like I was like, what? That movie was.
Yeah. No, I don't think that whoever directed Aquaman was trying to make the greatest movie ever. They made that. I was hoping Shazam was a little more Aquaman. I think Shazam would have been a better film if it had been a little more self-aware and kind of played.
Well,
into
Shazam
its
did not know
tropes.
what it was doing. We talked about that too.
Yes,
It didn't know
yeah.
if it was an adult movie. It didn't know if it was a kids movie, and it.
That's the biggest problem with it. Yeah, it's
like
in the middle.
Shazam, if Shazam had played to either side, which I think personally it did the more funny, kind of take on that side better than it did sucking guys in wheelchairs out of windows.
I like that
Yes.
one better.
I did, but I think Shazam should have played up its campy side.
It
gone
lended better
that
to the campy stuff, to the cheesy
Yeah.
jokes.
Well, it's
That's
'cause
what
he
it
had
lended
Zachary
itself
Levi.
better to. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's perfect.
Well, that's
for
the
that kind of
thing. If that's the Shazam you're going to cast, then lean into
You
that.
gotta make that
portion of the
movie, yeah.
character.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it
Exactly. Like,
tried
I
to
don't-
walk the center of the road, and it just failed.
stuff, for sure.
Like supposedly, and that's the thing. Like supposedly, Black Adam is supposed to be.
They're going to be darker.
It's supposed to be, but I'm like, okay, but it's got The Rock, who is not who's
you
not
can't
a
take
bad
the
actor,
Rock
but
seriously as a bad guy actor.
Yeah.
Like he's got to
But
be
he's-
like a cheesy villain.
he's
Still
really
the
good
way
in
it works.
Ballers, like doing stuff that's serious. Like he
He
does
is
have
good
some
in Ballers.
acting chops.
Yeah.
The
He's
dude
not bad.
can act, but he's not like a villain like that. I know he was like
let's
heel
look
when he
at
was on
the
Monday Night
character in
Raw.
Ballers. The character in Ballers is not real far off of Dwayne Johnson, right?
No.
That's
Like,
true.
He's an
That's true.
ex-football player. He's a superstar
to stretch
everywhere
too
he
hard.
goes.
Yeah.
I mean, so
It played to his strengths.
it played to his
Mhm.
strengths. Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
Not to diminish his acting and his skills. I'm just saying.
no, he's good in a lot of
Yeah.
things. Jumanji, I will still say, when he has to pretend to be not himself, is
Oh,
still
it's
just
hilarious.
it's so fun. But
Oh.
well,
I
we stopped
think- I
talking
think-
about WandaVision about 20 minutes ago, and the DC
Yeah.
universe just fucked us sideways again.
Damn
So,
you, DC.
but anything else, guys?
No, I
Kevin,
think that's
it's 3 a.m. for Kevin. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well past my bedtime.
Is it pumpkin time?
All
Yeah.
right, well, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for listening. David, Kevin, Alex, thank you for being here.
Yeah. I have nothing
Next
better
week
to
we'll be
do.
back, hopefully, with Opie.
except sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Opie's not going to listen to this one because he's not.
No,
No, he won't.
Yeah,
He's
he
not
won't
on it. He won't listen.
Oh no, he will. He's gonna listen to it, hoping it's a train wreck.
well,
Just put in there. Pete hosted, and just like that. That's. Just put that. He'll listen to it in a heartbeat. Go, oh, this is gonna be good.
yeah, fall asleep to it.
All right, have a week. Fuck you.
All right, then.
What you drinking?
The last of my eggnog.
My daughter just finished off the last of ours yesterday.
It's such a sad day, honestly. Like when it's the last mug, I'm just like, fuck.
well, and she's
just
still got some
savoring it.
Right, she still got some almond milk eggnog that we bought on a lark, but it just we like tasted
Almond milk eggnog.
It's got the flavor, but you know how eggnog has that like thickness that in like most other beverages you wouldn't really want.
But you do an eggnog because that's part of it.
You do an eggnog,
Yeah.
exactly. And it just doesn't have that. It's like
Nah.
if you took milk and
It's
it tasted like eggnog.
Like watery eggnog? No, that's no good.
Yeah,